Hi, this is Sharon from craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com. I'm here again today to bring you another one of my Wow That's Cool videos. And this card from the video series is called Straight to My Heart. It's a Valentine card, as you can see. What you want to do first is you're going to need a card base. And that card base is just going to be a Whisper White card base. And that paper is cut at 8.5 by 5, 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Your next layer is by Real Red, and that one is by 5 1/4 by 4. And that's going to go on layer 1. Then layer 2 is going to be 3 3/4 by 5, and that once again is going to be using the Whisper White, and that's going to work like that's how your layers are going to go on. Okay, so we're going to start out with the Whisper White, the smallest layer, the 3 3/4 by 5. What you're going to do with that is we're going to be using our stamp called the Gorgeous Grunge, and I like this because it's a lot of background stamping and embellishing. There's a lot of little different patterns. You can have almost like tape, just lines. It looks strange by itself, but when you put it on backgrounds of your cardstock, it really adds a lot to it. And I already put this on my block, and we're going to be using Smoky Slate with this. As you can see on the card base, I use the Grunge as a background stamp on the white, just make like little splatters. And if you can kind of see, and it just really has a nice look to it. Okay, so what you're going to do is stamp randomly on that 3 3/4 sheet. Just kind of splattering. Run it. Don't worry that you run it off the paper a little. That's fine. And that's about it. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking from our Hearts collection, Framelits, and what I used was my number 3 heart, counting from the center out. Okay, so I took my number 3 heart, and you're going to be placing that on your cardstock. I'm going to bring out the card again. What I did was I actually cut out 2 of these, running them off of the paper. So you're going to just pick a place. You're going to put it on your cardstock like so, and you're going to run these through the Big Shot. So I've run this through my Big Shot, and this is what I've taken off. And this is what your piece should look like now. Okay, you're not going to really need these. These can be just tossed. So this is what the front layer of the card is going to look like. Now I have my dimensionals on the back, and I did put one on each corner, one in the center to support because it's a little weak here. And yeah, let me just get the papers off of it. Okay, so we're going to take the top layer, layer 2, and we're going to put this onto the red layer with dimensionals. Whoops, don't want that sticking yet. Just kind of centering it. Alright, then you're going to take your 12-inch piece of red Gros-Grain ribbon, and this is going to get tied around the card and just knotted. I took my full heart punch, and I took the Amore designer cardstock, and I had punched out 2 of the hearts with the punch. These are once again going to be used and popped with a dimensional. Okay, I've got my dimensional on the back of the heart. Get the sticky paper off of it. You're just going to put that, pop it into the center of the heart. Same thing on the back of this one. Okay, Now the parts that we need are the little flags and fishtails here. This cardstock, I had cut my white, I had stamped this with, with the Love You More stamp set, and I used the Straight to My Heart. The way I got that on there was I took painter's tape and I taped over the top portion of the stamp that I didn't want to get ink on. Then I used my Real Red ink pad, stamped up this portion, then I pulled off the painter's tape because then of course you're going to have Real Red ink on here, so I pulled off the painter's tape, that way that part of the stamp was clean. I stamped that onto this little tab that is, this little piece measures 13/16 by 2 1/4. And I pushed everything when I stamped it way to the left. Now if you want to use your Stamp-A-Majig to really line it up, that's great too. Okay, I took my ruler, measured up 1/4 of an inch. I took pretty much the midpoint on this. Measured up 1/4 of an inch and put a little dot on the paper. Then I took my ruler from the edge of the paper. I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see this a little closer. I took from the edge of my paper to that center point, and I just put a straight edge and drew a line. And then the same thing this way, lined it up with the little dot I had made to the corner of the paper and drew a line. Then I just took my scissors, I'm going to zoom back out now here. Then I took my scissors and just snipped and snapped on my marking. And that's how I did that. Did the same thing on the Real Red. This one is 1 inch by 2.5 inches. And I already marked this one and almost cut all of it out for myself just to speed up here. Okay, the white layer I used some Snail to adhere it to the red. Just line it up evenly. And then I did take dimensional on the back, so I put Snail on the back. And oh, before I adhere this, I'm going to show you. If you want to cut this off, you would just take it evenly with your red cardstock and just snip the end of that heart so it's evenly. And then we're just going to put it on the top of the white cardstock base. If I can get this to sit still here. Okay. Now you can take the little flag that we made and you can place it on the top of your card. As far as my envelope, what I did was with that, here's the envelope with the matching liner from, this paper is from, both of these patterns are from that Amore series. I cut a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece of designer cardstock, and then I used my envelope punch board. I put it in the punch board, 4 1/8, I'm sorry, and I punched, and then I flipped it so that these sides would be at an angle to one another, and I did another 4 1/8. Then I took the top part and I put it in the rounder to round that off for my liner. This envelope is cut at 8 by 8 square, and I punched at 3 1/2, and then I scored. And now you just line up all your score marks with the line that you just made with this little notch. Punch and score. Now you're going to take your wider part of your envelope and you're going to round the top of that corner up. Then you're just going to crease with your bone folder all the way around. Okay, and for my liner, you're going to get your side that's rounded so that both these corners, I like using my all over glue. Now I used to, my old video that I did, I was using the liquid glue, but I really like this because it doesn't smudge out. But all you need to do is glue the top half from the rounded corner to the half mark on here. And then you're going to lay it in to the envelope. That way you can press it really, you can press with your bone folder, you got a really nice adhering there. And then you can take your glue, put it on your corners of your envelope, and fold forward, and there's your envelope to match your card. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If it was helpful for you, or you've enjoyed it, I would appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up or leave a comment. That way I know that you're appreciating the videos and you want me to continue them. You can also find all of my supply list and other cards on my blog at craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com. Thank you so much for viewing, and until next time, God bless.